You got me down again.
Next to me is the Ferrari Lusso, a Ferrari with 4 seats. It's the successor to the FF, a polarizing shooting brake that hit the streets in 2012. It had 4 seats as well, a complex all-wheel drive system, and could fit full-size adults in the back. Now, that's a bold move for Ferrari, the king of 2-seat supercars, but it actually worked. The Lusso has taken that formula one step further. It's more refined, it's better looking, it's more powerful, and elegant at the same time. The Lusso comes in 2 variants with extremely different characteristics. One has a 6.3-liter naturally aspirated V12 that makes 680 horsepower with a screaming 8,000 RPM redline and 514 pound-feet of torque. The V12 model also comes with the all-wheel drive setup developed for the FF. Then we have this version, the Lusso T. Under its enormous hood is a twin turbocharged flat plane crank V8 making 602 horsepower and 561 pound-feet of torque. The motor is mounted very low down in the chassis for better drivability, and the V8 version isn't all-wheel drive. In fact, it is rear-wheel drive to make the handling characteristics a bit sportier. It also sheds 121 pounds off its curb weight, totaling 4,150 pounds. On the outside, the Lusso is striking. It's got an extremely long hood, LED headlights that are strikingly Ferrari, and a beautiful yet enormous front grille and aggressive splitter. One of the Lusso's most unique design elements is the way the rear hatch slopes downwards here with its integrated rear spoiler. Now at the front, it's also got its signature triple air vents that in this case are finished in gorgeous carbon fiber. Now to keep things simple, there's only one wheel option for the Lusso T, although there are 2 finishes, standard and chrome. The rear of the Lusso is where it truly shines. It's low, it's wide, it's aggressive. Ferrari has perfected the shooting brake coupe look with the Lusso, with how the rear hatch integrates into the entire rear bumper of the car. One of my favorite elements is the extraordinarily aggressive rear diffuser, especially the vents right in the center section. Now to the sides of those, we've got the quad-tipped exhaust. In fact, the exhaust and the wheels are the only identifying factor on the exterior of the Lusso between the V8 and the V12. We've got equal length exhaust manifolds for that beautiful exotic sound, despite the fact that it is twin turbo. But because they are twin scroll twin turbos, there is absolutely 0 lag. The rear hatch of the Lusso opens up automatically with the press of the key to reveal a generous amount of trunk space. You can even open up the trunk space further by folding down the rear seats so you can store ski equipment or really whatever you want. This thing is really practical. The interior of the Lusso is stunning. It features familiar bits and pieces from your standard Ferrari supercar, but with a bit more elegance and practicality. You see, Ferrari wants this to be a true practical daily driver, and in many ways, it is. In fact, the V8 model saves 40 grand over the V12, gets better fuel economy, and it's a little bit quieter in the low RPMs around town. The steering wheel is gorgeous as ever. We've got the Manatino dial located right here, allowing us to switch from snow mode to wet to comfort to sport, and if you want to have a bit of fun, ESC off. We've also got an LED shift light up here that looks really nice, especially at nighttime. Now they've shrunk the size of the airbag to allow for a more optimal steering wheel size, not only for performance driving, but also to allow you to get a better look at the gauge clusters so you can see them more clearly. Now you'll notice There's actually no stalks at all behind the steering wheel. Everything is located on the wheel itself. That allows for very large, very nice to the touch carbon fiber paddles, but also really good ergonomics. Everything Ferrari did, they made it so that it was very easy to touch from the driver's seat. So we've got the turning indicators right here. We've got the brights. We've even got suspension mode, as well as the windshield wiper options right there on the wheel itself. Every element of the interior is extremely well thought out. The attention to detail is unbelievable. Even these, the sunshades, are made of beautiful, supple leather with stitching on it. That is fantastic. Also, the center armrest opens up in one of the nicest actuations of any armrest I've ever felt. And then in here, click that button, it unveils two of the largest cup holders I have ever seen in a sports car. Pretty practical. One of the highlights of the Lusso's interior is its gorgeous central display. It offers a beautiful range of colors, it's really intuitive to use, and it's touch screen. The first time I ever used it, I was very much able to figure out how it works. There's a bunch of hard controls here, followed by a bunch of touch controls if you actually press on the screen. But the coolest element of the interior, in my opinion, has to be the passenger display. Ferrari wanted to make sure that passengers got to have almost as much fun as the driver. Same with the passengers in the rear there. So there's a display right there in front of your face that allows you to do many things. One, see what gear and RPM the driver is at so you can monitor it, as well as speed. There is also a VDA button so you can see exactly what driving mode the driver is in. And then my favorite feature of all of them is that you can actually search up point of interest, find them on the navigation, and then send them to the main screen so you can work together with your driver as he's driving and actually send in your destination from the passenger seat. Another one of my favorite features of the Lusso is the enormous panoramic sunroof, and it's best enjoyed from the rear seats. So let's hop back there. To get into the rear of the Lusso, simply pull the latch on the passenger seat and it automatically moves forward, allowing you to climb in really easily. Go ahead and step inwards here. Then when we close the seat adjusts backwards. You've honestly got a ton of space back here. It's interesting. Not only do you have one of the most breathtaking views out the panoramic sunroof, it honestly feels like you're in a convertible, but with no wind. It's something that you have to experience in person. You also almost feel like you're in the passenger front seats. A lot of times in the rear, they're kind of bench style layouts. They're too vertical. They don't feel supportive. In this, it's got the perfect recline. It also almost feels like you're in a bucket seat, almost a cocoon-like vibe. The center console runs all the way back here. We've got an air vent and a storage container here, but you could seriously, as long as you're under 6'5", do a long road trip in the back of a Lusso. That's a pretty impressive feat. So what does the Lusso T actually like to drive? Well, let's find out. Push the start-stop button, fire up that V8, and off we go. The reverse button is right in the center console. We've actually got a beautiful backup camera and surround view display here, making it very easy to maneuver. Click the right paddle to put it into first gear, and off we go. Click the automatic button to put it into manual mode. Now, the Lusso T is fast. Really fast. 0 to 60 happens in 3.5 seconds. That's just a tenth of a second off of the V12 variant. Top speed is 199 miles an hour. Now, people's biggest concerns when they hear twin turbocharged is, does it sound good? And is there any turbo lag? And to both of those I say, there is absolutely no detectable, no matter how good you are at feeling an engine, perceptible turbo lag in this car. The responsiveness is instantaneous, and because you have that torque lower on in the RPM range, it actually has some serious grunt to it in the low end. And then the top end, it just pulls and pulls. In terms of sound, it doesn't scream as loud as the V12, and some people might prefer the sound of a V12 to a V8, but it does sound good. It does sound good. Properly Ferrari. One of the things that's impressive impressing me the most about the Lusso is its steering feel. It is absolutely tremendous, and part of that is due to the fact that it has all-wheel steering. At high speeds, the rear wheels turn in conjunction with the fronts for enhanced stability, and at lower speeds, they turn at the opposite direction to make it a bit more nimble. The second you turn the steering wheel in, the car darts in any direction you want it to go. It is absolutely fantastic. Speaking of responsiveness, the transmission, 7-speed double clutch unit is absolutely brilliant. Downshifts happen instantaneously, as do upshifts. The paddles are the perfect size and placement. Oh, that is amazing. That is amazing. One thing I found out, under hard braking on the street, the emergency flashers actually go off. So if you go hard enough, they flash to let the person behind you know that you are slowing down really quickly and to get their attention. It's a really cool feature, actually. Visibility out of the front of the Lusso is tremendous. You can see everything. You've got the two haunches for the front two wheels like sights over the road. But what's so incredible about the Lusso is how easy it is to drive. Now, we are ripping along in sport mode, but if you put it back into comfort mode, it is so relaxing. We've got magneto-iriological dampers that are soaking up all of the bumps. Now, the roads I chose for this aren't the most forgiving, and the fact that it's able to soak up the bumps and still corner as flat as it is a tremendous accomplishment that can't be said about most cars. This is, in fact, something that is so easy to drive, anyone really could step behind the wheel and feel comfortable. It's not intimidating in any way, shape, or form in comfort mode. You can feel the edges, the perimeter of the car easily. With the backup camera, it's easy to see in parking lots. It doesn't have any super aggressive throttle response in comfort that would scare people. And then you turn the lever up to sport mode and things get a little bit more exciting. This car is truly exceptional to drive. Oh my. Pulled over to talk a little bit more about the interior. Now, there are 3 different seat options. These are the standard seats. They hold you in place very well, quite comfortable, and there are a ridiculous amount of leather options to customize the Lusso however you see fit. Now, one of my favorite buttons in the interior is the lift button. Now, normally in cars, it lifts the front end, but in the Lusso, it lifts the front and the rear of the car so you can summit any obstacles. Talk about added practicality. I don't understand why more cars don't do that. I am honestly stunned at how playful the Lusso is. It's not exactly the lightest car in the world, but my gosh, does it feel nimble. And that F1 traction control keeps you feeling safe. Even though I'm in sport mode, I didn't turn ESC off. Despite the fact that it's rear wheel drive, it feels so controllable, yet you get that front end bite. No understeer, obviously. Oh, wow. The power comes on so linearly. Woo! I am in love with this thing. Wow. The brakes too. Wow. I'm stunned with how many things the Lusso is able to do exceptionally well at the same time. It's a comfortable GT cruiser, so it knocks that off. It's got space in the back with fold-down seats, so it's got that bit of added practicality. There actually are usable rear seats. Now, a lot of cars have rear seats just for the sake of having rear seats, to be honest. You can't put full-size adults in them. But this car, I can actually fit there very comfortably. You'd have no problem sitting there for a couple of hours. And then on the other end of the spectrum, it's incredibly nimble, fun to drive, sounds good, doesn't have any lag, super responsive Ferrari. That's truly a special formula. I swear, I am in love with the lift feature. Simply click that button and it literally eases all of the stress away when pulling into inclines like going to a gas station or pulling up into a driveway or a pull out that you would normally associate with a Ferrari. When you drive a high dollar car, there is a stress associated with that. But somehow with this lift and the way the Lusso drives and feels, you don't have any of that stress at all. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I have loved my time with the Lusso T. Please browse the channel and subscribe, and I will leave you with some point of view clips so you can see for yourself what it's like to drive a Lusso. Let's hit it.